Welcome to my channel. This is not just a story. This is a journey through power, ambition, and the unbreakable will of a man who turned his name into an empire. From the glittering towers of 1970s New York to the political battlegrounds of Washington, D.C., Donald J. Trump's life has been more than success and controversy. It's been a carefully crafted performance where business, fame, and family became one grand stage. But behind every deal, every spotlight, and every political storm stood three women, three marriages that didn't just shape his personal life. They built the legend known as Donald Trump. Today, we uncover the untold story behind the man, the mogul, and the dynasty, Trump and his three wives, the power behind the empire. From the dazzling, ambition-fueled skyscrapers of 1970s New York to the powerful, often divisive corridors of 21st century Washington, D.C., the life of Donald J. Trump has unfolded as a relentless and meticulously staged spectacle, a grand narrative where the boundaries between the personal and the political have been consistently and deliberately blurred. As a formidable real estate developer, a charismatic television ringmaster, and ultimately the 45th President of the United States, his public persona has been inextricably interwoven with the intimate fabric of his family life. The women he chose as partners, the children he raised, were never merely a supporting cast. They were strategic allies, foundational pillars of his identity, and central protagonists in the epic narrative he crafted. To understand his journey is to examine the three major marital partnerships that have defined him, a triptych of ambition, glamour, and the relentless pursuit of influence. The story commences in the roaring 70s, an era defined by bold patterns and even bolder aspirations. A young, brash Donald Trump, heir to a Queens real estate fortune, was fiercely determined to conquer the Manhattan skyline, and in 1977 he found a consort whose drive and tenacity mirrored his own. Ivana Zelničková, a formidable force from Czechoslovakia, was not merely a former model and competitive skier. She was his equal in ambition and determination. This union was far more than a marriage. It was a corporate merger of two indomitable wills. Ivana rapidly evolved into Donald's most trusted lieutenant, his de facto prime minister. She was not a silent partner, but a hands-on executive within the Trump organization, a woman possessing a steel-trap mind for business, who adeptly managed the high-stakes glittering world of the Trump Castle Casino in Atlantic City. Her most visible and crowning achievement was the monumental renovation of New York's legendary Plaza Hotel, where she oversaw every meticulous detail, from the application of gold leaf to the ceilings, to the selection of the finest linens for the suites, transforming it into a veritable temple of opulent excess. Together, they reigned as the undisputed monarchs of 1980s New York, their lives a constant whirlwind of paparazzi flashes and tabloid headlines. Their personal legacy was cemented with the arrival of three children: Donald Jr., the firstborn son and heir apparent; Ivanka, the princess meticulously groomed for a future in the spotlight; and Eric, the steadfast lieutenant. They were raised in a universe of gold-plated fixtures and towering expectations, their destinies seemingly mapped within the very blueprints of the expanding Trump empire. Yet, no empire, whether personal or corporate, is impervious to internal fissures. The marriage, strained by highly publicized infidelity and clashing egos, spectacularly imploded in 1990, a divorce that was as public and contentious as their union had been glamorous. Despite the dissolution, Ivana's profound imprint on the Trump identity, her relentless drive, her innate flair for the dramatic, her foundational role in building the brand, remains permanently etched into the family's core story. As the dust settled from the first marital war, a new and distinctly different chapter commenced, one scripted more for the glossy pages of celebrity magazines than the financial sections of the newspaper. His relationship with Marla Maples, a vivacious actress and television personality from Georgia, represented a clear departure from the corporate partnership he had shared with Ivana. This was a romance enacted under the blinding glare of the paparazzi, a dramatic, intensely public affair that culminated in a marriage ceremony in 1993. The wedding itself was a quintessential spectacle, held at his own Plaza Hotel, a venue choice rich with symbolism, representing a reclaiming of a palace once overseen by his first wife. Marla, adorned in a voluminous wedding gown, embodied the glamour and accessibility of Hollywood, introducing a new dimension of fame for the already celebrated tycoon. The most enduring legacy of this union is their daughter, Tiffany Ariana Trump, born in 1993, her name itself a direct nod to her father's luxurious brand identity. However, this chapter proved to be significantly shorter, dissolving in 1999. Marla primarily raised Tiffany on the West Coast, geographically and culturally distanced from the intense, New York-centric orbit of her older half-siblings. This physical separation fostered a markedly different upbringing for Tiffany, one that was more private and academically focused, ultimately leading her to pursue higher education and a law degree. She has emerged as an independent and intellectually driven individual, who later joined the family's political constellation, contributing from her own unique vantage point. The final and most politically consequential chapter began in the late 1990s, a period of personal and professional reinvention that would ultimately culminate in a bid for the highest office in the land. It was during this time that Donald Trump met Melania Trump, a strikingly beautiful and intensely private Slovenian model. In stark contrast to the effusive and highly involved Ivana and the bubbly, very public Marla, Melania presented herself as a figure of sphinx-like poise. Her composure was impenetrable, her words consistently measured, and her commitment unwavering. She represented a new form of stability and a calculated, sophisticated international image. Their 2005 wedding at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach was an event of unparalleled opulence, a powerful statement that Trump's brand of luxury was not only intact but was reaching new heights. The birth of their son, Baron William Trump, in 2006 solidified this modern family unit. Baron, the youngest of the 5 Trump children, is unique in that he has grown up entirely within the context of his father's dramatic political metamorphosis, from businessman to reality television star to commander-in-chief. It was Melania's role, however, that would achieve profound historical significance. When Donald Trump ascended to the presidency in 2017, she became the First Lady of the United States. Her tenure was a masterclass in controlled detachment and enigmatic presence. While her husband dominated the news cycle with his unfiltered communication style, Melania operated with a quiet, resolute dignity. She launched her Be Best initiative focused on child well-being and navigated the relentless scrutiny of the White House with steely resolve, most notably acting as a fierce and protective guardian of Barron, meticulously shielding him from the intrusive media glare. Her partnership with Donald Trump marks his most consequential era, demonstrating that behind the immensely public figure stood a partner whose strength was derived not from loud proclamation, but from silent, unyielding fortitude and a deep personal sense of resolve. And so, the 3 marital journeys of Donald J. Trump are far more than sequential personal relationships. They are the foundational pillars of a sprawling, quintessentially American saga, intrinsically linked by the 5 children who form the legacy's next generation, and who each carry forward distinct aspects of their father's multifaceted identity. From the corporate boardrooms and construction sites of New York, through the glamorous, fleeting world of Hollywood celebrity, to the ultimate seat of global power in Washington, these relationships were consistently more than personal. They were strategic, formative, and perpetually public. They illustrate in the most dramatic and enduring terms how the private bonds of a singularly public figure are not merely a subplot, but the very engine that drives his story, shaping not only a family dynasty but, in countless ways, casting a long and enduring shadow over the course of a nation's history. The evolution of these partnerships reflects a broader narrative of adaptation and reinvention, with each phase contributing a vital piece to the complex mosaic of a life lived unapologetically in the public eye.